This episode of Co-op is brought to you by Gamefly, the National Fight Against Drunk Driving, Over the Limit, Under Arrest, and Squarespace.
I know. I'm like punished for it.
You get to laundry day, right?
Oh yeah. Laundry day.
Hate it. Hate it.
Love it.
The thing I like about you most is you've run away with me. So pack your bags and your shotgun too. We might run into zombies. We're always down for that co-op multiplayer action. We're always down. We're so down. We're so down. We're so down for co-op. We're so down for that co-op action.
I think one thing that I can start with right off is that the save system in this game is awful. There's no autosave, there's no checkpoints. The only time that it's friendly in that regard is it lets you do the boss fights over and over again if you die, which quite often I'll do because you can't figure out, even though they give you the little piece of papers that say a boss strategy, you'll still walk into the battle feeling more or less blind. One that I can think of is when you're going into the Sweets Kingdom, and it's basically a giant pinball game, and it's like, don't let him roll to the bottom, and I'm like, okay, I won't let him roll to the bottom. But I didn't realize that I need to send my guys up
And
there
not just
to
let them bounce off you.
Right, because if they bounce off me, they all die. And so I did that boss battle like 3 or 4 times, trying to like swap out people, you know, and everything, until finally I figured out, oh, well, they don't get hurt if I throw them forward.
They can get hurt though. That's the problem. You have to save people with high health. That way you can bounce them enough time. And it's kind of like a game of chance.
It's a very big game of chance.
Whether or not he bounces at the right trajectory to hit the thing to reveal the fork to then kill him. So it's kind of annoying if your guys aren't buff enough. I really like the boss fights in concept because they're all very different from one another. They're all very inventive and they're colorful, whimsical, and I just really love the wackiness of it all. But in execution, they were just like hair-pullingly, like teeth-gnawing, frustrating, like remote throwing, you know, that kind of anger that would just come up in me when I was playing. It's just in so much contrast with the rest of the game's mood. Like you see the classical music for the soundtrack. It's all very like lovely and picturesque. But then you start to fight monsters and they just wail on you, and then you want to strangle somebody.
Yeah, it is a game with kind of an identity crisis to it, in the sense that you look at the cover and the cover makes it look like it's made for your little brother, but then you play it, not only is it far too difficult for probably even a lot of like people that play video games on a regular basis, but I mean, you have to be pretty damn good to get through a lot of those parts. But even beyond that, it's not even like kiddie themed throughout the whole thing. When you start getting letters about being a polygamist, or you know, getting letters from a priest telling you that you better pray because if you don't pray you're gonna pay, this game's gonna suffer for that, in the same way that games like Zack and Wiki did the same. Like Zack and Wiki had like that cute appeal, but they were obviously geared towards people like us who play games and are passionate about them.
I think the sensibilities are a lot different. I mean, some of the princesses or slash queens have like some pretty like ginormo boobage, and you're just like I guess you're supposed to be like a 5-year-old kid.
I guess.
And then after
I can't really tell.
After you save each princess, you cut to the scene where you take them home, and then like all the cats are like meowing, making like cat call sounds, and like hearts are popping up. I mean, I guess they're kind of alluding to the fact that you're, having sex with them.
I don't know if that's what they're alluding to. I want to say
and
no.
then like bubbles come up, love, love, love. I'm like, what else?
I kind of thought that too, but then I'm like, I remember the opening cinematic of, you being this little kid in imaginary land and being sucked into this alternate universe, and I'm like, this kid can't be getting it on with these queens.
I don't know, because the second to last princess you get is like this really buxom one, and
Yeah.
she's like the one that I would picture the list, but the last one you get is one that looks like she's like 5 years old, and she's driving like a Tonka truck. And it's like, if that's what they're implying with that all the time, that game is really fucked up. That's all I'm saying.
I do feel sometimes that games can skew too far towards being easy to, try to catch the whole mainstream casual appeal. But I don't mind games being difficult. I think that with Little King's Story, there are some difficulties that are in the UI, in the usability, and that's not where I want my challenge to come from. I want my challenge to be, something that I feel I can overcome with some sort of, skill. I don't want to feel like the game is cheating me.
It's like the fact that the pathfinding on your followers is awful. So you can go around a corner too sharply and lose half your guys, or you're walking along the edge of a cliff and they fall off onto a lower level, and it's like, not only do they fall off, but they fall off and they lose a life. And it's like, you're punishing me because you have terrible pathfinding code.
They do have the different formations that you can go through. Like you can have evade formation where you just stretch out into a long line.
Right.
And that helps to some degree, but it's unwieldy.
And I feel like me and Matt had a conversation about this, like how it seems like it's a game that wants to do like really kind of combat that's like on the fly, and you're giving a lot of different orders. But with only like an option to send guys forward or call guys back, it doesn't
those
really.
are your only two commands.
And I mean, it's like one of the games where like a lot of times, I mean, it's a common thing you see in Wii reviews and stuff that people complain about the terrible use of the Wii remote. But it's like in this one, it could have been on a GameCube controller or any other PS2 or anything, because there is no motion. There's nothing Wii specific about the controls whatsoever. Ever.
And I can't help but wonder if maybe they had incorporated the Wii controls a little bit more. Maybe it would be easier to select what guys I want to send out and call back. Maybe I could have, formed a few different groups so that I'm not just, you hit down on the D-pad and that allows you to select the kind of guys that you want. But you have, by the end of the game, you have like 8 or 9 different types of people in your party, and quite often you only have like, okay, I need that one builder in my party in case I run into a bridge, and yet you're frantically trying to click through all your different kinds of guys to send them out because you suddenly come upon a boss encounter that you weren't expecting and that you have no strategy for.
And you can't call back one specific type, because when you recall, they all come back.
Right.
So it's not like you can leave your fighters out there and be like, oh shit, I threw one miner in the mix.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
To figure out how to get certain things to occur in the game, or to get like access to certain classes, it's kind of like has that thing I didn't like about Viva Pinata, where it's like you all have to like sacrifice a baby, come and then drag its blood across a stone at midnight, and all of a sudden you'll be able to build wizards. And it's like, okay, no one will ever figure that out on their own.
Right.
Like, this is one game I had to use a FAQ more than once. Like,
Little King's Story, I think, overall, it's just the entire game is just one big puzzle. Like the boss fights, they're all about figuring out the little strategy to do it, and all the good things in the game that you could do are also really hidden. I feel like it took Anthony a while to figure out he could even equip items, because they don't ever explicitly tell you that, and like the fact that you can accept quests but then you can do stuff out of order, I feel like they want to leave it open, like, yeah, sure, you can, but in reality there is just that one answer to the puzzle. By the end of the game, if you buy enough houses, you'll have like a bajillion citizens, so they become kind of like cannon fodder. You can just go through and use your best, health point guys and just keep turning them. You have enough money to just turn them into whatever class you want at any moment. And I thought that was a bit of a shame because each of the citizens have their own name, and they have like little personality and quirks, and then
they fall in love and
have babies and all this kind of thing. There's a strange separation between wanting to give personality to your villagers and then also then having them just be like faceless, drones.
Yeah.
It is kind of a game that should have come with its own strategy guide because they tried to do so much in it that even with in-game tutorials, you still will not learn everything. Like even going through all that, I still don't feel like you'll get a good idea that like, oh, characters can fall in love. And by making them fall in love, you can actually make them get married and have babies. Like I didn't know that at all forever.
Is that how you finally get kids so that you can have them climb the trees?
For like a school and stuff,
See,
yeah.
Okay, so I don't know that. I didn't know that you could make people get married because I'm like, do I unlock the kids' house eventually so that I can train children?
You make the church, then you see sometimes around like sunset that people will have hearts around them. Then you have to like dismiss your whole royal guard. So like those two guys, and then send them into the church. They get married and come out with a baby. But then they already have the royal the royal guard badges, so then you have to go back through your list and reassign it to the proper people.
How did you figure that out? Like, there's no way I ever would have figured that out.
I spent a lot of time in this game, let me just tell you.
So did I, but see, even Alice spending as much time as she did, I figured out certain things she didn't for forever too. Like, Alice didn't know you could send your citizens in to houses to tax the population.
I enjoy figuring out stuff about games and finding little secrets and things like that, but so a game like this,
they're not even just like extra unlockables. They're actual core gameplay mechanics that you have to just have to suss out,
Yeah, and that's what makes it frustrating, especially when you can see all of the ambition that went into this game. And that was the reason why I wanted to cover it in the first place, is because I was reading from a bunch of different sources that, wow, this game is a lot bigger than I thought it was, there's a lot more to it, and that's true. Like, you're 7 or 8 hours into this game when it really unlocks the full rest of the world, like, holy crap, this is a huge game. And then you have, like, the really charming cutscenes and sequences, and the story is really interesting in that regard, it's told really well. And to have all of these flaws mar that experience is kind of a tragedy.
Ultimately, I did really enjoy the game, except for the parts where I was really angry at it. And
Right.
I'm a little terrified because this is one of those games where I feel like if I had gotten to a point where it frustrated me so much, I might not have come back to it ever again. And that would be, a shame because there are a lot of cool things at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that critically, like with games for us and stuff like that in the future, that when they're composing like their 10 years from now best list of games on the Wii and stuff, this will be one that they'll all look back at rose-colored goggles for like all the awesome stuff it did. And this will go down as a game that a lot of people say, this is one you should have played for Wii if you never have. But I mean,
but it's still not gonna. But right now, it just doesn't feel like it measures up to what it should have.
Right.
What's wrong, Billy? No money for new games? Well, try GameFly. GameFly is the largest online video game rental service and offers you a choice from over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, GameFly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. There are no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and GameFly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the GameFly website and the game is yours, at a discounted price. GameFly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. Co-op fans will get a 2-week free trial when they go to gamefly.com/co-op. Some restrictions apply, see site for details.
Nachos while we wait?
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah,
Damn. I'm making a mess.
that's why this place rules. What are you playing?
Wolfenstein RPG.
Oh dude, I just started playing that.
It's amazingly fun.
It's surprisingly awesome actually. I haven't played Wolfenstein since, back when Wolfenstein came out, and I remember it being pretty lame.
Yeah.
Because I think immediately after it I played Doom,
Right.
and Doom like kicked its
Kicks his ass.
Turning it into an RPG for the iPhone is a genius idea.
I think the thing though that was most surprising and the reason that I really like this game is that controls in the user interface are just like really genius. There's a lot of iPhone games that have a D-pad on them, but because this is turn-based and kind of slowly paced, it works really well.
Yeah, and you don't have to be exact. You don't need like Twitch controls on it.
Right. I mean, beyond the straight D-pad, there's all these kind of like gestural commands. Like you can slide your finger left or right, or back or forward to do strafing, rather than turning. And then you just tap on the screen to shoot or search or like kick a box. Or did you ever punch the Hitler painting in the face?
They like burst.
It looks like something out of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's hilarious.
That's awesome. Wolfenstein has this added layer of campiness already built in. You're fighting like demon Nazis who, as this brave American soldier, and you're like freeing your buddies, and apparently you're like kicking chickens in the stomach and turning them into roast chickens.
Yeah, like that one animation of a chicken going "Quack," and then like a roast chicken being in its place on a little platter is like so hilarious. If I had to make a major complaint about this game, I would say that there's a lot of repeated artwork. All the enemies are the same, which is, as you mentioned, I think it's kind of the same as it was in the original Wolfenstein. And I think the thing that really sells it is the comedy. Like the writing is genuinely pretty funny, and this game doesn't really take itself super seriously.
It has like mini games built in too. There's like one part where it's like, oh no, a crazy escaped prisoner challenges you to a game of war. If you win, you get his money, and you can like bet like Nazi gold.
Right, exactly.
And like, it's pretty hilarious. It's
all in all, I think it's just a really kind of refreshing little game that feels like Wolfenstein. It reminds you of it without being Wolfenstein, especially if you like RPGs. I mean, it's not the same as playing like a Chrono Trigger or any 8-bit. I mean, we've seen some like 8-bit style RPGs or 16-bit style RPGs on the iPhone.
Right.
And the controls are sometimes good, sometimes they're not. This seems to work really, really well, and I'd like to see more games that at least use this engine. I mean, it's a really great looking game for an iPhone game, I think.
Well, for gamers who have played Wolfenstein, it's great because it brings back a lot of memories for me.
Right.
Funny killing Nazi memories.
Right.
It plays like better 3D shooter game did, on DS even. So for me, I think it's a good buy. I would do it.
And if you're an old school gamer that never experienced Wolfenstein, you can get the original Wolfenstein for like, I think it's on sale for 99 cents right now.
Yeah.
And it honestly, after playing the RPG, I feel like, it doesn't quite control as well, which it makes sense. It's an action game,
Right.
So I kind of really like the way they handled the RPG, and I actually think it's a better fit for iPhone than the original Wolfenstein.
Absolutely.
Good idea. Drinking at home while playing racing video games. Bad idea. Drinking and driving. Don't do it. Far too many people just don't understand that alcohol, drugs, and driving do not mix. Law enforcement officials are going to be out in force all over the country from August 21st through Labor Day, cracking down on drunk drivers. Beyond putting your life at risk, you could be costing yourself a bundle of time and money. Jail time, your driver's license, higher insurance rates. Heck, you could kill somebody. So just don't do it. In fact, the worst part of it all is how easy it is to avoid. You can still go out there and have fun, just plan ahead. If you're going to drink, designate a driver, call a taxi, use mass transit, or find some kind of sober ride program. Or you can just do what we do and stay home and play some racing games. Drinking and driving, over the limit, under arrest.
Doing laundry costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it does. Nice hat.
Thanks.
You're a true player.
Actually, it's reversible.
Ooh.
Check it out. OG, original gamer.
No way, dude, I'm the OG. Check it out. I've got
whoa.
shirts for every previous console generation. So I've got like Xbox, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast.
Whoa.
This shit's tight,
That's pretty tight. Well, check this out. My favorite piece of swag that I still have to this day. My Vice City Stories members only jacket. It's my favorite piece of swag because it's the actual article of clothing that I would wear out. Like,
It looks like it's made out of windbreaker.
yeah, I love
Cool.
stuff made out of windbreaker.
Back when Quake 3 Arena was first coming out, this
in '99.
That's a real jersey.
And it's a real jersey. I got it at this like website from Minnesota that sells like hockey gear. It's even got my Mark
Holy
IV gamer
shit,
tag
Digital
on the
Taco.
back.
That's awesome. That's pretty dope. I have to
This is
admit.
this is one of the nerdiest things I've ever.
Actually, still my favorite to this day is the one that Jason got me from Japan. It's the limited edition Uniqlo.
Oh, it's Snake.
MGS4 shirt.
That's awesome.
I remember when I got my game signed by Kojima, he flipped out when he saw me wearing it. He's like, "Oh, you have the shirt."
Oh, that's amazing.
That's so awesome.
Wow.
He was pretty stoked.
Yeah, that's a great shirt.
It's pretty cool.
But not as good as my prized possession, my Team Fortress 2 Brotherhood of Arms. This is this is like the original old school version of Team Fortress 2.
That's
back when it
awesome.
looked like Counter-Strike from '99. I got this at E3.
But yeah, well, check this out. I got its counterpart, modern counterpart. It's the heavy.
Oh,
See
that's
that?
great. Yeah,
dude,
I love these shirts.
Yeah, this line of shirts is awesome. They got the
Yeah.
heavy, the pyro, they got all of them, you know.
Mine's still better.
Oh,
Check it.
oh,
Limited edition, Wander in the Colossus.
That is fucking awesome. Like,
It's even got
fucking
some deer and some eagles and shit up there. I love that one.
awesome. Yeah, but problem with having all these cool shirts,
What?
it's gonna cost us like $14 to do a laundry.
Yeah, it's true. Check it out. One Up Show.
The 2D genre has been everyone's been talking about a lot with Trine and Explosion Man and Muramasa and Shadow Complex. So you know, this is another one that's tried to pick up that genre and kind of reinvigorate it.
Obviously, they set the bar pretty high in expectations, saying, "Hey, this is our Metroid game." Like
Right.
Chair has made no bones. Like that's what they're making because outside of the DS and Metroid Fusion, there hasn't been a lot of these games put out in the last couple of years. I don't want to say rip off. That's the wrong word, but I guess be like
Homage.
homage. This is like this is like the video
yeah.
game version of a cover band, sort of. So they
Yeah,
put their own
right.
spin on the kind of. At least you go after one of the best in Metroid, specifically Super Metroid, which is
Yeah.
the game that they're
Very
really going
much so.
after.
Yeah, they
with this
chose the
title.
right one.
One of the things I did want to talk about is how good the game looks, obviously. I mean, people are going to notice that when they first boot it up if they've
Yep.
seen videos of it. It uses Unreal Engine 3, but one of the reasons that Epic bought Chair last year at GDC was because of the way they use that engine, because they actually redo the lighting engine from scratch, whereas most people that license the Unreal Engine, they just use the lighting that's built into the engine, but they actually go out of their way to create their own look and style to
Contrast
it.
is really good.
Yeah. But one of the things I actually don't like is early on your girlfriend gets kidnapped, and the way that's told out is in game where they're actually moving through the world. And I actually found myself wanting more of that and less of the cut to a cut scene.
Do anything!
Command, this is Echo 7. We are en route to Sector B5. Please prep for interrogation.
I don't know what
But
you
a lot
guys
of the
think.
exploring does add to that. I mean, there's a specific area when you're moving above like the mess hall
Yeah.
and then the bunks
There's lots
where
of
they're
conversations.
where you're hearing
Right.
lots of the conversations. That actually adds a lot to the story, and I think a lot of the story is meant to be heard through conversation that you overhear.
Because this isn't about guns and muscle. It's about perception. What people see and think about us.
What did you guys think of the kind of 2.5D, 3D-esque kind of aiming based on the axis? Because early on, when I first played the game for the first time, and you're leveling up for the first time, I actually didn't like it initially because I found it really difficult to actually get the aiming spot on. But as you go through the course of the game and you level up, your auto aim works really good. If you're just running around, a lot of times it'll actually take care of and actually shoot behind you versus having to like manually finagle the right analog stick to get your cursor right on it.
Well, the only part I found where it didn't work is if your character is right here and there's somebody in the screen right behind you,
Yep.
then it's like, I can't shoot him. I actually have to be a little bit off plane in order for it to aim right at that guy.
Pretty clever overall though, because
Yeah.
you don't have to bother with like in terms of making a game accessible, right? Like, hey, we want people to be able to just pick up and play. You just have to think about 2D. It's like 360 degrees of shooting and that's it. but you get the gorgeous 3D levels. You get the depth. You get these graphics that you couldn't do otherwise. It kind of makes me want a modern day 2.5D like Metroid or Castlevania in the same style, because it's so gorgeous, and you get this full 3D thing, but it still look really good.
It allows a room to be filled up with a lot of people without them all being in your way.
Yeah.
So
and it doesn't look like an old school like 8-bit game where it's just like a row of 10 soldiers in a row. It looks natural.
I love that if they're close enough to you in the 3D plane, you can still melee them. Yeah. And the melee move is my favorite weapon in the game. Like I love that more than any of the other weapons.
The game does a really good job of rewarding you for kind of thinking through each encounter rather than just kind of running and gunning. Like early on, you have a couple of sequences where you can shoot a spider like robot and it'll drop down, explode, and kill guys. Or there'll be like an electric cable and you can shoot that and electrocute. Or even my favorite is when you'll see like a green vent and you see a bunch of enemies, and you know, if I throw a grenade in that vent, it's gonna light everybody on fire in the entire room. So it actually rewards early on when you do die very, very easily to kind of sneak around and kind of think your way through these encounters.
And then as you get more powerful, they reward you by letting you just charge in and fuck everything up. And I think it just shows how smart the designers were in this game overall, because the way that the achievements and the leaderboards are designed to teach you to play in different ways. You know, because it's you always, when you melee a guy, you see somebody else pop up that like, oh, I just passed Shu's number of meleeing guys, and you know, oh, David, he has 10 more than me of making them scream, you know.
I love
and like, and then you go into the stats and tracking, and it keeps track of all this stuff, like how many headshots you got, how many group kills you got.
To me, that's one of the most brilliant design elements, is just that little mini leaderboards for each achievement and style of killing an enemy. It's like this unlimited achievement, because you can always try to get a bigger score than your friends. So I thought that was really awesome, because it kind of makes you want to play it again, just if you know there's people doing better than you.
I think the sound design was largely excellent. Like some of the best I've ever heard, and especially for an Xbox Live Arcade title, the sound design was just so good. Like when you get the friction dampener, and which is basically the same thing. It's the speed boots in Metroid.
You also had the animation of your character kind of regaining his balance.
He's like, whoa.
Because you realize basically the suit was running on its own at that point. You're not doing anything. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I found the wall jumping to be really awkward. And it didn't need to. It didn't need to be, because it had a thing where if you're too close to the wall, he won't grab onto it. So if you're in narrow spaces, he'll just end up constantly falling, and he won't grab onto the walls. And along with that was when you're climbing up to the top of a ladder, I naturally want to jump off the top of a ladder to get onto a level.
And you would jump away.
And you would jump away and come back and jump away and come back. Get off the ladder!
For me, it was almost like it reminded me of like old school, slightly unpolished games, because there's some areas where you don't have the double jump yet, you don't have the triple jump yet, you don't have the hook shot, but yet if you're really good about timing, like how you grab onto the wall, you could still scale it. So you're kind of cheating, and I'm wondering if the developers did that on purpose. Like, we're gonna build in this kind of flexibility and this little roughness into the jumping mechanics and the grab mechanics, so that you can cheat and explore areas before you're supposed to.
They're actually on record as saying they love speed runs. They actually support it. So there are things in the game built in to what they call sequence break. It's where you break the sequence in orders and when you get different power-ups, so that you can beat the game as quickly as possible. In fact, that's like a whole segment that they're actually going after with this game.
The map actually created a lot more problems for me than I had anticipated. At first I was like, oh, well, this is a Metroidvania style map, I get it, I get how this works. But I found myself running into a lot of times where I would think I could go one way, but no, I really couldn't, even though the map looked like I could.
I think it's okay though, because it's sort of, if every room was one square, like the little mini-map says, and you can find whatever you need to within that screen, it's almost too easy at that point. Like, I kind of appreciated that. Okay, there's a question mark, there's something in this room, but I tried everything and I can't figure it out. And then later you'll find some like back vent or some back wall, like this hollow wall to get to that area. So that's kind of cool because it makes you explore more.
Right,
but
that stuff I love. But the problem that I'm talking about is if there's an indicator that there is walls here and I cannot get through here and I cannot get through here, but I can get through one of these walls. It's just not showing me that I can. Like that's where I found it frustrating. But I had a lot of those facepalm moments where I spent 2 hours searching for those final room to get that key card, you know, but it's like, oh, all I did is miss a panel. And it was like, it wasn't the bad design, it was me that did it.
if it weren't for its price point and it being 2D, it would feel like a full console game.
Yeah, I would have paid full price for this game. I really would have.
So like because of that, then you have this short ending.
I would have paid maybe $30 for this game, but not $60.
I don't know, but $15? That's a
I totally agree. It's a steal. And like story-wise, this game totally apes like the greatest like Invasion USA, those Chuck Norris movies from the 80s. It's just like it doesn't really matter why you're kicking ass. You just need to know you're gonna be kicking some ass. So
honestly, I'm excited for what other developers want to release games of this scope on Xbox Live for $15, $10, $20. Like it's pretty cool, and I await more games that do that.
Yeah.
It's in the dark though. It's like it hurts my eyes a little bit. It's a bit too bright.
It's a little straining a little.
Oh, too dark, dude. Split the difference.
A little bit in the middle.
Halfway.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
What's going on?
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, you just changing the colors?
It's Squarespace. Remember, you can change the colors in real time.
Try green. I like green.
Okay, we'll do
Green's
green.
my favorite color.
That's super cool.
Do blue.
Oh,
that's
all right.
You guys changing the color. That's awesome.
blue's not bad.
Do you like? I think orange would be really good.
Orange? Yeah.
Really?
Orange bar logo.
Like how about like an olive or a mauve or something?
Yeah, they move up to like a yellow.
Hold
Go back.
sienna.
Go back.
Dude,
Go back.
No, go forward. Go back to
Right there.
Go back
we
to
can make it
green.
do this.
Oh, like a brighter.
Yeah, look at the lights. Look at the color.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Oh, that's good. Squarespace. Squarespace to change your site in real time. Verify TV look kinda shitty to me until we put it on the Squarespace. Real time changing of your website. Squarespace does it in real time. If you want your website to look like a disco, hit this shit up, baby. You will see it in real time. Squarespace.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, that was good talk, guys. Not too bad.
I kind of like that color.
Oh, right there. Perfect.
Looks pretty good.
I like it.
All right. Let's do it.
So wait, where's this Cougar convention?
So it takes place in Palo Alto, and rule states to be a cougar, you have to be there has to be a 15-year age discrepancy between the cougar and the cub.
Right.
But to be crowned Miss Cougar 2009, you have to be above 40. So
We should send Fresh.
That would be
that's
hilarious.
a great idea.
You want to go? Yeah. We should definitely send Fresh. Ooh. Ew.
That's
Where'd you get this?
That's my most embarrassing shirt. I'm not sure.
This is the opposite of
how
this
that
is like
made it in the
bad
wash.
box art pasted on in pink.
Yeah, it's awful. I love Soul Calibur, but I would never wear this.
That is horrible.
Never.
Yeah. Mine's not so bad. I got this Need for
That's
Speed.
worse, dude.
This is not worse.
Yes, it is. That's worse.
This is not worse.
Dude, it's like fake street.
It is okay. Maybe it's like Comic Sans on a shirt, but it's kind of badass. It's orange on brown.
I would never wear this.
I would never wear that.
I would wear this to bed. I wouldn't wear that to bed.
That is pink.
This is Soul Calibur.
That is pink.
At least it's Soul Calibur.
It's pink.
Ivy's a cool character.
This is orange.
Dude,
Down brown.
whatever.
Fresh.
Fresh. Huh? Fresh. Which of these shirts is
Yeah.
more?
Which one would you rather?
Never mind.
Yeah. Never. It's okay.
What?
Never mind.
What? All right.